In Yemen, at least 60 people have been killed in a bomb attack on a military building in the city of Aden in the south of the country. Officials said a suicide bomber drove a car into the headquarters of a local pro-government militia, the Popular Resistance, which helped drive Houthi rebels out of Aden last year. Well, BBC Arabic's Karim Gohary is with me here in the studio. Karim, just first of all, what else do we know about the attack itself?
Well, we know that Islamic State has claimed, so-called Islamic State has claimed responsibility for it on its self-made media organisation online, as well as Twitter and so on and so forth. We know that the figures are expected to rise, about 60 as you mentioned. The figure comes from officials as well as from doctors. Now, the Popular Resistance militia are a pro-government militia that helped in driving the Houthis out of Aden about a year ago, and those who died in this incident, in this attack, were mostly new recruits. So they're people who are going to volunteer to actually go and join this new resistance movement. There's also talk that a lot of those who, the victims of this, were actually going to be part of a group that were possibly Saudi Arabia's trying to train more of this popular resistance movement to try and push against the Houthis in whatever strongholds they held still in Yemen.
And taking a step back, where are we with the wider conflict in Yemen and the efforts to try and resolve it?
Well, the wider conflict is still ongoing. I mean, it's been going on for 17 months or so now. There have been efforts for peace negotiations between both sides. However, those have failed so far. The most recent attempt that kind of fell through was earlier this month. On the ground, however, there's still fighting in areas in the north and in the south. There's no real substantial gains for either side to talk about, but you know, in terms of on-the-ground situation, and we've got a little bit of gains for pro-government forces to the east of the capital. Now, the capital is in control, obviously, of the Houthi rebels, and the government's main location is in Aden. However, again, 80% of the government is actually in Saudi Arabia. It's a bit of a messed up situation, really, to talk realistically about it. Efforts to bring about the parties to talk again about peace have failed several times. There's a new push by the US Secretary of State to try and bring them back. However, there are stumbling blocks and sticking blocks, obviously, to do with, especially with Houthis withdrawing from the capital, as well as them leaving other major cities and handing over their weapons. Now, handing over their weapons to whom is a big question mark. They don't want to give it to the government, obviously, so they want to give it to possibly a third party. Both sides, the Abdurrabbu Mansour Hadi, the president, and the government, and the Houthis have both voiced a positive reaction to this new push. And the Houthis today were actually in Baghdad holding discussions there, and then they're going on to Tehran, so on and so forth. So there are attempts, but I would say it's still, you know, a difficult situation in Yemen, especially humanitarily as well.
Karim, thank you very much. Karim Gohary from BBC Arabic.